I'm hopeful that members are going to be open-minded, that they are going to, when they raise their hand and take that oath, that they're going to view the evidence that is presented to them, and that they're going to do the right thing. I cannot be moved by the machinations of politics that are going on in the interim while we're trying to put this together. I think that, we're going to be speaking to all 100 senators. We're not going to be speaking to one group or the other. And I'm hopeful that they're going to do what's necessary to truly unify this country. And that unification can happen until there's a reckoning for crimes against it.
Unify by having one side purge the other of its most recent president. Unify by bending the knee and surrendering and promising that you'll be a meek and mild and submissive Republican Party going forward. That's the pathway to unity. And as Chuck Schumer, now Senate Majority Leader, good God, as he says it, that's the only way also to have accountability. Play that clip.
Everyone wants to put this awful chapter in American history behind us. But sweeping it under the rug will not bring healing. The only way to bring healing is to actually have real accountability, which this trial affords. And so we will move forward with the trial. It will be fair, but it will move at a relatively fast pace.
Unity through your side being further humiliated. Isn't it amazing? Everybody wants to put this in their rearview mirror, but let's all focus on it for the next few weeks. This is what they're telling you. This would be like saying, I know you've been out in the sun too long and you're burning, but stay out for another 2 hours because that's the best way to handle it. This is insane. This is what they're telling you. They've got to justify this somehow, and they've got a problem here because anybody who's looking at what's happening with a reasonable eye would say, hold on, unity for our purposes here is going to mean doing the most divisive thing they can possibly do at this stage. Go after a former president. This is because they want to bar him from office. This is not because justice demands it. This is not because they want Trump to be the first president in history to be convicted by a Senate trial as part of the impeachment process and to be barred from running for future office. That's because they want to destroy the Trump movement right now. And they know that if they get this against the father, then any of his children, anyone else in the Trump world that wants to run will have to deal with this. Now, perhaps it'll backfire. I know some of you would make that argument that this would then catapult Ivanka or Don Jr. or somebody else to the front of the line for the GOP. I'm not confident that that's the case. And I think that I think that the political skills that Donald Trump Sr. has are not necessarily transferable through, pure genetics to whoever else comes along with the name Trump. But I could be wrong on that. Well, no, I don't think I'm wrong on that. But I'm open to seeing how this plays out. That all said, they want to make sure that Donald Trump can't run again because they know he can win again. And we know that that's a possibility, too. And this is why they're doing everything they can to tell you something that as soon as it's said to you, is BS. You know that what they're saying is a false narrative, but they have no way around it. Let's all come together here through a divisive process. Let's lower the temperature by turning the temperature up. That's what post-presidency conviction would be here. And this is what they offer up. This is their promise to all of us. And it's not only the Democrats who are saying this stuff. I mean, there are different levels among the Republicans. You've got Romney, who's now effectively a Democrat. I mean, Romney has made his bed. Now he should sleep in it. Romney is a Democrat. He's a moderate Democrat, what this guy has become. Marches with BLM, turns on. I mean, remember, he would have more credibility with me now if he had enough sense to not vote to impeach Trump and remove Trump the first time around over the Ukraine phone call, which was absurd. That was just the whole process. It was entirely bonkers, unserious stuff. But that is what Romney went for. Here he is telling us, again, he's parroting the Chuck Schumer lines. It's like Chuck Schumer's handing him the script. Romney saying that the way to bring us all together is to spit in the face of 75 million Trump voters. Yeah, play 11.
Well, we're certainly going to have a trial. I wish that weren't necessary, but the president's conduct with regards to the call to Secretary of State Raffensperger in Georgia, as well as the incitation towards the insurrection that led to the attack on the Capitol, calls for a trial. And, if we're going to have unity in our country, I think it's important to recognize the need for accountability, for truth and justice. So I think there will be a trial, and I hope it goes as quickly as possible, but that's up to the council on both sides.
Yeah. There will be a trial. Unity, accountability, these are the words you're going to hear. What about the old precedent that we have of you don't go back and look for prosecutions of the former administration? Donald Trump could have pushed for, and his DOJ could have gotten a criminal trial brought against Hillary Clinton, for example. And I know, lock her up chant and everything. Some people wanted that. But they didn't do it. Maybe disappointed a lot of Trump voters, but they didn't do it. Why? Because it sets a terrible precedent for politics in this country to even have the perception, the belief to be out there that one side is weaponizing the prosecutorial apparatus against the other for political reasons. This completely devolves a democracy. This destroys a republic. This ruins everything. Because it means that you establish a winner-take-all philosophy in politics that then becomes corrosive of everything. It's not a temporary, peaceful transfer of power based upon the will of the people. It's how do we make sure we stay in charge because otherwise the other side is going to throw us into prison. Once that becomes the mentality, it's no longer about our sacred democracy and who's getting to vote and have a say in their future. This is just winner take all, bare knuckle power struggle. And that's why we haven't done that in the past. That's why there's, you even look at the approach taken in situations where there has been misconduct by politicians where, they were the president. You look at Nixon. I mean, the pardon of Nixon by Ford, Nixon, Reagan, Ford, and Johnson. Gurgling with Gergen. I kind of miss that guy. But you look at all the things that go on, and you say to yourself, there's a bigger picture here that we have to keep in mind. There are broader themes and issues at work. And that's what is being completely cast aside now. And very conveniently, I would add, by Democrats. Just pushed aside. They don't care. They simply don't care. They think they have more important things to do, like destroying this president. Marco Rubio takes a kind of middle pathway here, and there's already news stories out about how Ivanka is going to run for his seat. So, he's trying to hold on in Florida. He's looking for his place in the future of the party. Marco plays his cards right. He could be a name that really carries some sway among Republicans in the future. You don't know. He could have a second act here. But even he sees that while it might be in his immediate interest to turn on the Trump dynasty because of the challenge that Ivanka would bring to him in Florida, even with that going on, he understands that this impeachment is just a terrible idea. Play 14.
I think the president bears responsibility for some of what happened. It was most certainly a foreseeable consequence of everything that was going on. And I think that's widely understood. It may be even better understood with the perspective of time. I think that's separate from the notion of let's revisit this all and stir it up again. It's not, the stories are still going to be written. If there's criminal justice investigations, they're going to continue to move forward. All these things are still going to happen. All I'm arguing is we have some really important things to work on. You want to really kind of bring the country together and remember once again how we can get things done. It isn't by uniformity on all the issues. It's about working through a process that allows people with different points of view to debate all that and get to a solution for the country. All that, we're going to jump right back into what we've been going through for the last 5 years and stirring it up again with the trial. And it's just going to be bad for the country. It really is.
It absolutely is. And anybody who's being honest can see that. But for Democrats, this isn't about what's best for the country. We know that. They're bitter still about Trump. The media is, by and large, angry still because of what Donald Trump said about them, did to them, the way he used his Twitter account to slap them down. They haven't forgotten that. They want payback. This is all about payback now. For a lot of Democrats. For others, it's also payback plus control of the future and making sure that Donald Trump is unable to run for office ever again. And think about the stain that would leave on the Republican Party, too. We'd be the only party that has a president, given everything we've seen in the 200-plus year history of this country. We'd be the only political party to have a president who not only is impeached after leaving office, but is impeached and loses in a Senate trial. By the way, I don't think that he will lose in this Senate trial. But in the attempt, then, all they get is further division. I think that the Republicans know that. If Mitch McConnell knows this, if they go for it and they fail, come at the king, you best not miss. And the Trumpster does not forget. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.